Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Secretary, for being with us today. And I just want to mention that I do certainly appreciate the work that you and your employees have done as well. I think you provide such a valuable service to all of us. I would like to take a minute just to discuss an issue that has arisen in Iowa, and it's affecting many of our levee districts across the Missouri River as it relates to accreditation under the National Flood Insurance Program. And as you may know, accreditation and certification of a river levee is very desirable for communities and property near the river because it ultimately affects the affordability of their flood insurance rates. And I understand that FEMA's involvement in this process is to review and accept certification provided by a party that is seeking accreditation on a levee, on a flood insurance rate map as providing 100-year protection. But the cost of the certification is really creating havoc for a number of these communities in my state. So my questions on this is, number one, in FEMA's eyes, how is a rural community with almost no tax base, in my particular area, southwest Iowa, we have just a handful of families that live and farm in these levee districts, and they are supposed to pay for, at a minimum, $1 million evaluation by a professional engineer. This is not good news for a number of these families, and I don't know how they can reasonably accomplish accreditation when it is so costly for these families. And so I'm not sure if you have ideas on how these rural communities can pay for those. And number two, why is it that FEMA has different levee certification standards than the Army Corps of Engineers when it comes to reviewing the effectiveness of a levee? And I will stop right there and see if you have any thoughts on that. But there seems to be some inconsistency between FEMA and the Corps of Engineers. There's a memorandum from 2014 that lays out how they are supposed to work together, but from what I understand in exchanges of emails, this communication process isn't happening or isn't working. So one, it's a big shock, the cost of levee certification, and your thoughts on that, please.
Senator, my overall view of our flood insurance program, the overall view, is that it should be solvent but also affordable. I can't comment specifically on the cost of certification and its affordability, particularly with regard to the rural communities you spoke of in Iowa, but I'm happy to look into that and get back to you specifically on your question. I don't have an explanation for you in terms of the different methodology that may exist between FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers, but I'm happy to look into it.
Okay. I think that would be important because it's not just in rural Iowa where this is happening. This is all across the United States, and flood mapping is a big deal. And what we're running across in some of these areas even is what I've heard from some of my constituents, and I know this is true of other places as well, is that the cost of their flood insurance, their premiums, monthly premiums, are starting to edge up towards what their monthly home mortgage costs are. And you have to remember that we have very economically challenged areas, and it's all they can do to pay their mortgage. And then to double that with flood insurance costs, some of them are simply walking away from their homes. And this is a very sad situation. So if you could provide us information about that, it would be helpful, or a way that we can do better and find alternatives for these families. Yes. Next question. According to a recent article in Bloomberg, DHS suffered over 100 spills of classified information last year. And while I understand that a spill it's not quite the same thing as a leak, both forms of mishandling information in the federal government really do concern me. So what are your feelings on this, and what are we doing to address these types of situations?
My view is that DHS, given our cybersecurity mission, should be a model for other federal agencies and departments. I am familiar with that article. I know that our cybersecurity experts in our Intelligence and Analysis Directorate are focused on addressing spills. My recollection is that the article was not accurate in all respects, though, but I'd be happy to
Yeah, if
identify
you
that
can
for you.
clarify, that would be great.
Okay.
I appreciate it. No, I do appreciate it, and again, thank you for your very good work out there.
Thank you.
And all your employees as well.